What's up guys, welcome to the second top 10s in the series. Today's episode I will be listing off my top 10 favorite Pokemon games. This list is going to include both the main games and the side games. We aren't picky here. As always, feel free to share your favorite games down below and enjoy the video. Now let's get started. Starting our list at number 10, we have Pokemon Battle Revolution. When Generation 4 came out, I was amazed at all the new Pokemon, and when Battle Revolution was announced, me and my sister were actually really excited to see our Pokemon battle each other in a 3D type of surrounding. Of course, this was before we had ever really seen Pokemon Stadium or any of the other games like that, so we didn't really know anything about that, and the idea of transferring Pokemon from your DS to the Wii in order to battle in such a way was actually amazing. Even though nowadays, like games like Pokemon X and Y, ORAS, and Sun and Moon are out, this is definitely a great game as a kid and still my favorite now. Moving on to number 9, we go from one fighting focused game to another with Pokken Tournament. When I first heard about Pokken Tournament, I was actually really excited at the thought of a standard fighting game surrounded by Pokemon. The story elements of the game itself is actually really fun, and it's great playing with games like this with friends. I always loved using Sceptile and Blaziken in battles and fighting to be number 1. I haven't really played the game too much due to having sold my Wii U, but I'm definitely excited for it to come out in the Nintendo Switch. Now I just need to buy it. Coming in at number 8 is Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. As a kid, I didn't really grow up with Generations 1 and 2. I was a Gen 3 baby, so all I really knew were the games on the Game Boy Advance. I eventually did get to play Pokemon Gold, and when Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out, I was really excited to play these games with better graphics. Picking up this game, I was already really prepared for the world of the Johto region, and it felt rather nostalgic. Every time I play these games, I enjoy them, despite feeling that the game is rather fast-paced. It may have a fast story and not too much to it, but it's definitely a game full of nostalgia and belongs on my list. Here at number 7 we have Pokemon Yellow. As a kid I always grew up loving the anime, and I always dreamed of being something like Ash, having your own Pokemon and being able to catch all the starters within one game. So when I first picked up Pokemon Yellow I was super excited. The thought of being able to be like Ash Ketchum, start off with your own Pikachu, and being able to catch all 3 of the Kanto starters was absolutely amazing to me. Despite my dislike for the anime now, Pokemon Yellow still holds a close place in my heart as one of my favorite Pokemon games. Here at number 6, we have Pokemon Sun and Moon. Despite these games just coming out, they're still on this list because of the fact that the story and the Pokemon introduced in this generation were absolutely awesome. Generation 7 has been the best generation to come out since Gen 4, and unlike Gen 5 and 6, it has a great story that doesn't feel like it's either dragged on forever, or is just barely there to begin with. Pokemon Sun and Moon, despite being out for about 7 months now, have been a lot of fun, adding a ton of great elements and mechanics to the Pokemon world, and I'm very excited for their sequels to come out in Ultra Sun and Moon. Going to number 5, we have Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. As mentioned, I am a Gen 3 baby, so these were the 2 games I was exposed to for most of my childhood. Ruby was my second Pokemon game to ever play, and I still remember struggling to pick between the 3 amazing starters of the region. These were the first games I played where I was unable to pick a favorite starter due to Torchic, Trico, and Mudkip all having their own amazing traits and just looking awesome in general. Generation 3 was the generation that introduced me to Pokemon, and it's why it's number 5 on this list. At my number 4 spot is Pokemon FireRed and LeafGreen. FireRed was my first Pokemon game ever, and is the reason why I still love Pokemon to this day. I was excited to pick Charmander as my starter and start off my journey through the Kanto region. The game's full of nostalgia for me, and whenever I play them, they have, in my opinion, some of the best music in the games in general. So this aspect, as well as just the story in general, are absolutely amazing. Playing through these games never gets old, and with the original 151 Pokemon for you to catch and make so many different teams out of it, it's given that this should be my number 4 spot. At number 3, we have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. Though maybe somewhat of a surprise, the Mystery Dungeon series was actually one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time as a kid. I remember waking up really early one Christmas and opening the game, then playing it all night long. The idea of becoming a Pokemon, being turned into a Pokemon from a human, and going through a world that had no humans to begin with, and saving the world was amazing. The story itself was awesome, and I loved having my own Pokemon partner working by your side, not as master and like pet, but as equals, as friends. It was awesome. I loved the entire idea of it. But it also has a great emotional impact on you. Like, the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series almost tried to pull at your heartstrings with the idea of having to return to the human world and leaving all those that you've met behind. This game and the next entry are some of the few games to actually ever do that to me, and that's why it is number 3. At my number 2 spot is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness. As I said, I love the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series to begin with, and these games are definitely no exception. The second games in the entire series, you once again are a human turned into a Pokemon who must find out what happened to them and what they're doing in such an unfamiliar world. Just like the originals, this game had an amazing story and amazing Pokemon in it. I always found myself amazed by Grovyle in this game. I loved the idea of some kind of bad, misunderstood rogue who was trying to save the world but was portrayed as some kind of evil villain. The entire twist of the idea of Dusknoir being somebody that everyone trusted, turning into a minion of the main villain of this game, and trying to make everyone in this world go against Grovyle, who was trying to save the world as well as trying to find his old partner, which was you, was just amazing. Like I mentioned, this is the only other game where I actually felt myself tearing up at the end, leaving your partner behind due to having never even existed because of the fact that you had to save the world. It was sad, and overall, you could sense between you and your character, as well as your partners, that this sadness almost felt real. These games were a big part of my childhood and are amazing games in general, and I would definitely recommend them, and that's why they are my number 2. Finally, at number 1, my favorite Pokemon game ever, we have Pokemon Platinum. Despite me being a Gen 3 baby, Generation 4 was actually the generation that really hooked me onto Pokemon, especially Pokemon Platinum. Having played through Diamond and Pearl and having seen the amazing storyline and everything about it, all the amazing Pokemon that they gave you to your disposal, and then having those along with other Pokemon from past generations added, being able to catch more Pokemon from past generations, and expanding upon the entire storyline of the game, and even changing it to an extent. Pokemon Platinum was an amazing game, especially in the music. Even though FireRed has some of the greatest music in my opinion, Platinum definitely beats it with great route music, town music, and even battle music. Cyrus and Cynthia's themes are some of the best battle themes known to this entire game, and Route 209's is some of the most calming music I've ever listened to. I could sit there for days and listen to just that route song and feel so calm afterwards. Pokemon Platinum has the biggest amount of nostalgia from any other Pokemon game I've ever played. Its starters are amazing, its story is amazing, and the characters in the entire game are absolutely wonderful. It is by far my most favorite Pokemon game ever, and why it is my number 1. So that is it for this top 10, guys. I hope you all enjoyed listening to my favorite Pokemon games in general. I ask, what are your guys' top 10 favorite Pokemon games and why? If you can explain that at the least. You can just list them out, but I feel like it's better to explain why. It's great. But either way, that is going to be it for today's video, guys. If you guys definitely enjoyed this top 10 series, make sure you smash that like button, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.